Why do we have to mute the copywritten music? Because, hey, we're back with the non-copywritten stuff because we're going. We're moving forward. I have gone through, as those of you on Twitch have seen, through everything. And there are 4 to 5 teams I have identified as locations we could trade somebody. The players that are potentially going to find new homes. I mean, Rust, Keller, Kapanen, Marino could all be traded. Valtteri Puistinen, Travis Boyd, Nate Schnarr, and then Lindbergh and Vladar in goal. I have as many options as I possibly could. So one more look through. If we were to make a deal with Edmonton, the main players targeted would be Stenberg and McGroarty, and then probably a second. Because I can only get 1 pick back in a trade, so I can't pick for it. It'd be next year's second. So obviously Otto Stenberg would be an amazing pickup. He really would be. Then there's Nashville. Braden Yeager is there. There's also the idea of Matt Duchene, but also Svechkov and Barker. So you could argue, even over Edmonton with Stenberg and McGroarty, that Nashville is a little bit better because of Yeager, Svechkov, and Barker. And I think we're putting Nashville ahead of Edmonton on the priority list. The next team that we have to consider, the Toronto Maple Leafs, because William Nylander is out there. He's on an expiring deal, but maybe, just maybe, a player the caliber of William Nylander is what we need. You'd like to think that a Nylander, Crosby, Gensel line would work. How could it not? How could it not? So the question is, where exactly do we put Toronto on that pecking order? The Leafs are willing to move second rounders, but not a first. Then there's Vancouver. And unfortunately, while I like the looks of Geeky and Leslie, I don't think, based off of the other aspects, the other players that we've seen, that I can really consider Vancouver anymore. We have too many other good options out there. Boss, what's happening, man? We have too many other good options out there to legitimately consider the Vancouver Canucks at this point. And then there's Winnipeg, the final team in the conversation. They have Lucius and they have Zemmer, who aren't that bad. They're also considering, there's also other prospects factored into Winnipeg. So, again, for Winnipeg, you have a medium top 6 in Lucius, 77, 20 years old. You also have a medium top 6 in Zemmer, 71 and 19 years old, with picks. That's not too bad. Toronto, it's solely based upon the idea of Nylander and a pick. Like, that's it. William Nylander and a pick. Edmonton, we'll go Nashville first, alphabetical order. Nashville has Yeager at a medium elite, 77 and a 19. And then there's Svechkov, who's a medium top 6, which is, goddamn, I'm leaning towards Nashville. Svechkov, medium top 6, 78 at 20. And then there's also Barker, who's a medium top 6, 70 and 19. Then there's Duchene, and there's picks. Like, there's so many possibilities there on Nashville. And then Edmonton had the other medium elites, that being Stenberg and McGroarty. So I think Nashville, for what we're looking to do, has the best options, I would say. Oh, God. So Nashville is interested in everything that we're selling. I am gonna rule out Winnipeg officially. I am gonna rule out Winnipeg. So again, I kind of have a short list written down here of where everybody could go. So if we were to trade Brian Rust, the only place we could trade him into is Nashville, but that would make a lot of sense. Brian Dumoulin, though, the only place we trade him to is Edmonton. So those could be the big options. Kapanen could go to Nashville or Toronto. Keller, Nashville or Toronto. So it really is dependent on just, do we want to go out and get William Nylander? Or do we go for Edmonton and Nashville and just take the pure prospect route? Like, do we have faith that William Nylander next to Crosby and Gensel can be more than a 50, 60 point guy? Like, can he step up to that 60, 70 range? Or do we go for the younger medium elite? Like, obviously, he's an offensive play driver to an unreal extent. Great skater. You know, the defense and the shot's a little bit iffy at times. I mean, you know, he scored 30 goals once, so it makes sense. But he's also on an expiring deal. And he's not an RFA. I feel like Nylander might be too big of a risk. We do have all the cap space in the world, though. I feel like we have to prioritize Edmonton and Nashville, right? I think we have to look future, and there's 2 medium elites up for grabs here. I think I'm officially going to rule out Toronto for Nylander. As much as I'd love to do it, I just think Edmonton and Nashville, we're only allowed 2 picks. I think these are the trades to make. I really do. So if we rule out Toronto, that rules out the idea of moving Lindbergh or Vladar for a good return. Puistinen pretty much has to go to Edmonton. Keller and Kapanen pretty much have to go to Nashville along with Rust. And Dumoulin and Marino could go to Edmonton. Okay, so if we look at Nashville and potential players we could trade them. John Marino, I'm not sure, but god damn it, hasn't he sucked this year? Rust, Keller, Kapanen, and then obviously you could also argue Boyd and Schnarr. Like, I don't think we're going to send that much to Nashville. But maybe, just maybe, this isn't the right time to trade John Marino. I mean, he's 26. He's had a god-awful season. But Brian Rust has had a couple of disappointing seasons after that solid season 1, season 2, and 3. He just hasn't had it. We gave him a big money contract and fell off a cliff. Clayton Keller just hasn't been good enough for a second-line role. I mean, I guess if you look at it as a combination of the 2 seasons, he literally has 42 points in 82 games as a Penguin. That's not good enough. And then Kasperi Kapanen, we've talked about it over and over. So I think maybe the right decision is to hold on to John Marino. But if we use this trio of Rust, Keller, and Kapanen to send to Nashville, I don't hate what that could result in. Even if it is a bit of a crazy trade, I'm willing to go after all 3 prospects and also get Matt Duchene. Indeed, I elected to turn off Fog of War because people were very confused about some of the X factors. If I'm willing to take all 3 prospects, I'm also willing to take back Matt Duchene, even potentially for a full deal. I would also have to take somebody else back in the deal. We wouldn't be taking back any prospects, which is okay. To be honest, we might not even be able to pull off the deal for all 3 of them. But I can take on Patrick Harper. And I doubt with retention on Duchene that this works. Yeah, I don't even think we can afford Jaeger on its own, or on his own. But Jaeger and Duchene are the real, kind of pinpoint option to this. We could take out Bryce McConnell-Barker. But basically, you give up Jaeger and Svechkov, 2 of your better prospects. You get 3 dudes who might work out for you. And you get rid of Matt Duchene. That's pretty much the crux of this deal. And Nashville basically can't retain salary, but the thing is, I need the salary of Matt Duchene at this point. It's a bit much, it's a bit steep, but I need it. So I don't even think this goes through. If it does, I think it's fair, but I don't think it goes through, and it doesn't. You could argue whether or not they actually even need that many of our guys. Whoops. Way too far. Where the hell is the role tab? Player type role? Thank you. I mean, it would make sense in a way, because again, they were the team. They're just like, yeah, we got Ondrej Kase for some reason. Yeah, it would make a decent amount of sense for them to go for this. They do have a lot of guys in the mix, though, a lot of third liners. If we take out Svechkov and we only go for Jaeger. Jaeger's the reward. We have to take on Duchesne to do it. That lowers the value a bit. And then, is there anybody with a low bit of trade value that actually makes anything? Because Kase doesn't really make any money. Yeah, I don't think so. So even if we have to take back Ondrej Kase, I'm not opposed. Where the hell is Kase in terms of the amount of money he was making? I must have went right past him. We give up Rust, Keller, Kapanen. We take on Duchesne, but we get Jaeger to do it. We also take on Harper and Kase. I doubt this even goes through. Yeah. Nylander's cap's more worth it than Duchesne. Well, it's not so much about Duchesne, it's about the fact that we'd get Braden Jaeger. It's about the fact that we would get one Braden Jaeger on our team. And that's the type of prospect we really need right now. So he might be ready to go as soon as next year. How much more can we add? I mean, I agree. Jaeger might not be possible. We might have to go for Svechkov, which I'm still okay with. I'm just trying to see how much more I'd have to add to get this to work. And if it's worth it, we do it. And if it's not, then we don't. The center prospects, though. Jaeger was dual position, was he not? And even then, yes, because Crosby and Malkin aren't going to be here for, for forever. They're not interested in Puiston, and they are interested in Legare, but I want to give Legare a little bit more of an opportunity. I don't know why. He's been shit so far, but I'm not really wanting to get rid of him. Can't really add anybody either because they won't have space. Definitely not adding Joachim Kamel or Aremba or any of our top guys. Rost, Keller, Kapanen in the third. Duchesne, Jaeger. How close is this? No. I think Jaeger is going to be too much. If we take Jaeger out, go for Svechkov and a draft pick, that's also not a bad way to go. I don't mind having it be for Svechkov instead of Jaeger. Because the problem is Duchesne's value is higher than it should be, given that they want to get rid of him. So I'd have too many players. Let's get rid of Kase. We'll take that Columbus second. So we get Svechkov. We take on Duchesne and a second as well. Get rid of Rust, Keller, Kapanen, who have all struggled. Will it go through? I'm okay if this goes through. We need the cap space from Duchesne anyway, because we're so close to the cap floor. Rust, Keller, Kapanen have all sucked. Done deal. So Matt Duchesne, welcome to Pittsburgh. We officially move on from Brian Rust, Kasperi Kapanen, and Clayton Keller. Which is brutal. Which is brutal. I don't think we're going after Nylander now. I think our next deal's with Edmonton. I like to go for the prospect over going for Nylander. So we do bring in Matt Duchesne. We'll see what he can do. And we get rid of that trio of right wings that just absolutely sucked and couldn't do what we needed them to do. And right now we're actually under the floor, which is not ideal. It brings us to Edmonton. They still have Stenberg and McGroarty out there. In terms of players that could get dealt to Edmonton, we have a few. We do have a few. Their names are Marino. Their names are Dumoulin. Not saying we're trading them. There's also Puistinen. There is Boyd and Schnarr. Those are the 5 guys left that I'm considering trading. I doubt I get rid of Dumoulin and Marino. There's a chance Dumoulin goes here, though. There is a chance. I only have 1 trade left, and I'd rather target Stenberg than I would Nylander. So even if we rule out Dumoulin or Marino, and we do move on from Dumoulin, the top team, so he, you know, the no trade clause isn't factored in. We get rid of these dudes as well. That should be enough to get back Stenberg. But then we need to take back some cap. That's the big way to get this to go through for the Oilers. And I mean, you look at their defense, there's no doubt they could use Brian Dumoulin. And then the rest is all depth. So, in terms of a cap hit, I can take on Zach Kassian for the rest of the year. That's fine by me. He's in the minors anyway. There's also Warren Fogle, Shimmick. We definitely have dudes that we could take on the cap hit. So say it's Kassian. And let's go for Warren Fogle. That makes it work out cap-wise. So basically, we take on 2 cap oils. Honestly, I will retain salary on Travis Boyd. I should have retained salary on the other deal, if I could have, on the expiring deals at least, to make sure we're not below the floor. But we move on. I mean, we can't even use Boyd. Puiston and Schnarr haven't done well enough. Brian Dumoulin's kind of the crux of this trade. I don't want to get rid of Brian Dumoulin. I re-signed him for a reason, but he hasn't done well, and he's 32. So now would kind of be the right time to move on. So, I mean, the Oilers give up one of their top prospects, but they get back some good depth. They get back a missing piece of a defenseman they could really use. And if I can add anybody else to this deal to open up a roster spot, I should. Just so that we are good to go in terms of signing free agents, if I have to. So is there anybody else that I could get rid of here? And there's a name I'm looking for. Even Justin Almeida, getting him off roster because he wasn't that good. So basically, the crux of it again is Dumoulin and Stenberg. Instead of me adding something else, it's kind of offset by the fact that we take away cap of Kassian and Fogle. I don't think I could add anything else to this deal. McGroarty will be way too much. Yeah. But even a minor draft pick wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like a 3rd rounder. I think that's a fair enough trade. Will they do it? No, they won't. Too much value in their favor still. Yeah, and even now. So we would still have to pay a little bit more to get Stenberg. But because we missed out on Nashville's medium elite, we pretty much have to get Stenberg. I am willing to tax somebody else on here to do this. And if we look at our defense, it's Marino and Joseph, left D, right D. Schmidt can play either side. Jones is a lefty. Then we have Johansson's a lefty. Salmonson's a righty. McIsaac's a lefty. What if I even like tack on like Willsby? Is that enough? No. I'll retain on Puistonen as well because I can. See if that throws it over. No. Alright, so Willsby won't be enough. Willsby won't be enough, but who wills be? Because you see. Here. Willsby made the most sense, and he doesn't have the value. Vesinen could make a lot of sense because he was a free agent who shouldn't have been there anyway. Is that enough? No. Damn. Damn. I didn't want to have to use a draft pick here, but I think it's worth it. Either that or we take out Stenberg or we go for Rucker and McGroarty in a draft pick. And honestly, the value is not that bad if we were to go that way. I think maybe we will go that way. We'll go for McGroarty. We'll go for their 2nd rounder next year. Not that I want to move on from Brian Dumoulin, but we have enough young guys coming up on that left-hand side that it makes sense. We get a good prospect back, a 2nd, take on some extra cap. I'm pulling the trigger on this one if they'll do it. And they still won't. Now you start to wonder how much it's worth it. Will the third be enough? It will. We're going to do it. We're going to move on from Brian Dumoulin. Again, I didn't want to, but we're basically moving away all of our problem players outside of John Marino. Marino is the one guy that hangs around here. Those are the 2 trades that we can make at the deadline. We are done. Let's see what this team ends up looking like. I'm going to send Philip Lindbergh down if it'll let me. Honestly, I might just have to go best lines. We are under the cap, but I do have roster spots open. At least one. And we will again try to send for the rest of the year a big, big money deal over to one Louis Eriksson. Think we have a game today? No, we don't. We don't have a game for a couple days. Matt Duchene's healthy. And Louis Eriksson signs. So our new team, I mean, I'm not completely ruling out playoff aspirations or the ability to accomplish our goals. But if we look at this defense, again, Lindbergh, if we lose you on waivers, so be it. And he cleared. Shows where he's at. But Lindbergh and Vladar will both just be scratched. It's going to be Primo and Goodrow now. In the AHL, the defense is Marino Joseph, Schmidt-Jones, and we need to call up at least one left side defender here. It's either Johansson or McIsaac. And they've both been pretty good. Points are even. I think we're going to go with Johansson. For the fact that if we call him up and he sucks, we can still send him down. And he's got the X factors. So Johansson will be with Berglund on that third pair for the rest of the year. And then forward-wise, it's Gensel, Crosby, Duchene. Malkin. Honestly, we could use Fogle and Cassian, but yeah, we need the center. So we'll probably just have them as scratches. McGroarty, Svechkov, Pajaniemi, we can all send down. Then there's McGregor, who does have to play. Probably send down Cassian and Fogle if it will let me. So we'll have Bjorkqvist, McGregor, Legare, Stevenson. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need another winger in the top 6. It could be Jason Zucker. Well, actually, then. Felipe, what's up, man? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then third line, and fourth line. Honestly, we might be good. I might not even need to make other moves. Play Legare and Bjorkqvist there. Put Ryan McGregor at center. And then Fogle, Stevenson, Cassian. Put Jason Zucker back in the top 6. Have Sam Poulin on the top line with Gensel and Crosby. And then Malkin with Duchene and Zucker. That works. That works. I mean, not that I want to use Zach Cassian and Warren Fogle. I don't necessarily have to use them on the third line. I could use them on the fourth line. We got usable players that take up cap. Bjorkqvist, Stevenson, Legare. I think that works. I mean, again, we'll see what some of the younger guys can do. But it is unfortunate that this roster has taken a bit of a turn towards not necessarily the unrecognizable, but it's different. It's definitely different. And, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's the only thing I can say. Only thing to do is call up Lewis. He's down to a 73. That way, cap-wise, we're fine, but he can be a depth option. And then in the AHL, the only thing we have to worry about is taking out Lindbergh and Dan Vladar, since they both suck. Defensively, again, we're looking okay. Isaac Beliveau gets to play now, which is nice. And then forward-wise, there is nobody in there that shouldn't be. Svechkov and McGroarty are now on the team. Anson's and Draw's kind of offset I do want to get Philip Hollander in there. Is there anybody else with a bottom 6 potential? Doesn't look like it. It's all medium 9s. Almeida draws because of bottom 6. Johansson's there. I think we're good. Again, those were trades I didn't necessarily want to make. Like, I never thought heading into today, like, oh yeah, we're gonna trade away Sperry Kapanen, Brian Rust, and Clayton Keller, and Brian Dumoulin. But that's where we're at. That's what happened. And have to trade away Chris Letang as well because of the Nate Schmidt punishment. That's exactly where we are. Boy, the light balance really screws up as the sun sets, doesn't it? So, we're going to see what this team can do now for the rest of the year. We'll obviously see what else happens at the deadline, but like, we might still be able to make the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, again, it's the argument of
their pants we're going to wear tomorrow.
Why keep certain people if they're not going to get the job done, right?
And the day after that.
But yeah, the big trades: Rust, Keller, Kapanen to the Nashville Predators, and Brian Dumoulin and company to Edmonton. Those are the big deals. Again, we'll see what happens at the actual trade deadline, but we had to make our moves fast. So we play Boston and lose 5-3. That's not the most confidence instilling result after all those moves. We get Blomqvist in against New Jersey, and we lose that one as well. So trade deadline wise, again, nothing I can do. So we'll sim through it and see what big moves happen on the day. As Iafalo's dealt for Benning, a 2nd and a 3rd. Coleman, Dustin Wolf, a 2nd and a 5th for Esa Lindell. Big deal there. William Nylander gets dealt to the Chicago Blackhawks, along with 2 seconds for Henrik Borgstrom and a 3rd. So Nylander did get moved. Did we make the right call? Mike Hoffman goes to Boston, along with a 3rd for Fabian Lysell, a 2nd and a 3rd. So Boston and Montreal with a rare trade. Guryanov for TJ Oshie, a 2nd and a 3rd. Those were the quote-unquote blockbusters that picked up. Matt Roy goes to Detroit for a shitty prospect in 2 seconds. Andre Palat in a 2nd to Buffalo for Victor Olofsson, a 4th and a 6th. Glendening in a 4th to Chicago for a 2nd, 3rd, and Alex Regula. Anze Kopitar to the Red Wings for Emil Viro in a 2nd. That seems low. Again, the Guryanov trade. Eric Johnson, a 3rd and a 7th to Philly for Edward Sale, a 2nd and 2 other pieces. Sean Walker in a 3rd for Saron Noel, Vidicek in a 4th. Nico Mikkola for a 2nd and Anson McMaster. Toronto trades a 2nd, Ostapchuk, and acquires Matt Murray in exchange for Nick Holden in a 3rd. So Matt Murray is now a Leaf. Jacob Middleton in the 4th for Riley Height, a 4th, and Kavanaugh. Fabian Lysell and Mike Hoffman trade, the William Nylander trade, so he'll get to play with Alex. Ristolainen to Edmonton, along with a 3rd and the 6th for a goalie prospect, a 2nd and a 3rd. Casey DeSmith, a 3rd and a 4th to New Jersey for Antonin Avero and a 7th. Blake Coleman-Lindell trade, Tyler Toffoli to Nashville for a 2nd and a 4th, so Nashville, it's got to look ridiculous. Nashville has to look absolutely ridiculous. Let's see what the Preds look like after those trades. So it's Forsberg, Bergeron, Kunin, Janot, Granlund, Armia, Tolvanen, Trennan, Toffoli, Keller, Afanasayev, Trocheck. And I believe that's still because Rust and Kapanen are hurt, as is Tomasino. So yeah, Nashville's going for it. They are absolutely going for it. We'll take a look at them again, hopefully down the road. For now, in terms of our goals for the season, right? Because we still have to focus on those. It was a top 10 offense in terms of goals for per game. We are in the middle somewhere. It needs to be over a 3 for us to accomplish our goal. We are at a 2.63. Top 10 power play and PK. Our power play is not up there. Indeed, they did work. It's beautiful. Our power play is not up there. Our PK also isn't up there. Hey, okay, our PK is there. We just need our power play to pick up. And then the player, I was going to say the goalie in blocks, but the player in blocks. The great question. Fuck every other player, I don't care. Nate Schmidt, where are you in terms of block shots? Fuck. He's not up there. He's not even close, is he? 89 for Schmidt. To be top 10, he needs 102. We need our power play to take off, or we're going to fail all 3 goals. Again. Okay. So we have Poulin, Crosby, Gensel, Duchesne, Malkin, Zucker. And then from there, you can argue Stevenson should have a spot, which would leave Joseph, which makes a lot of sense, Jones, and probably Johansson. You could argue Marino, but Joseph, Jones, Johansson, all left-hand side. And that's who's already there. So we do not have too many. We don't have a single right-handed shot on the power play anymore, which is kind of brutal. But honestly, that's okay. I want Malkin on that left-hand side for the big shot. It's like I want Johansson. And then hopefully the PK can keep up. Except I don't want Zach Cassian taking draws. Let's get McGregor in there, even if he's not the best PK option in the world. Honestly, fucking put Sid on the PK for fuck's sake. You know? Not that he's the best option in the world, but do what you gotta do. Blomqvist and Konovalov still the goalies. Let's see if we can make the playoffs here, or at the very least accomplish one of our goals. So we play the Rangers and lose 2-1. I think next season one of our goals would be to accomplish a goal. Fair. Zach Jones immediately gets hurt. So we do need to call up another lefty. It can't be McIsaac because he is waiver eligible. So we are looking at Isaac Beliveau making his NHL debut. Congratulations, Mr. Beliveau. Can't wait to see what you can do, Budsky. Apparently there's a shootout lineup. Can get Duchesne in there. Why wouldn't Matt Duchesne be in there by default? It's Matt Duchesne. Gotta get Beliveau out of there. Or Belivau's spot, which can just go to Philip Kral. Alright, we march on. We did beat Carolina in that game. Everybody on Nashville should be healthy, by the way. I'm intrigued to see what the Preds look like. So it's Forsberg, Bergeron, Tomasino, Jeannot, Granlund, Cunnin, Tolvanen, Afanasayev, Rust, Toffoli, Trocheck, Armia. Keller's still hurt, and they have Kapanen scratched. Good call. I'd scratch him too. We take on Florida, and we win 4-3. We're still in a playoff spot, by the way. And Carolina, it is a loss. All right. We still have a chance of making the playoffs. Konovalov is in against Montreal. Kasper Bjorkqvist hurts his elbow. It didn't say he was out for too long, right? So let's get Jones back in for Beliveau. And honestly, fucking Louis Eriksson is going to step into the lineup. We'll put him on the fourth line. But just to save time, that is the play. Give Ben Goodrow a little bit of time with Wilkes-Barre here. We did lose to Montreal in that game. We take on Philly. Zach Jones gets re-injured because I tried to rush him back. That is unfortunate. Come on back, Mr. Beliveau. Beat Philly 6-5. Ryan McGregor's healthy. Washington. Isaac Beliveau gets hurt. My God. Let's call up Willsby. And if we lose him on waivers, so be it. If we lose him on waivers, so be it. Rough goalie situation. Well, we tried to sign Alex Nedeljkovic, and he told us to piss off, basically, and went back to Detroit. So, it's kind of the situation that we're in. Put Anson's in on defense, I guess. I don't fucking care. We lose to Washington 4-0. We play the Rangers and lose 5-3. 9 goals against in 2 games. Thanks a lot, Mr. Blomqvist. I got multiple players back from injury. It's all well and good. Let's wait an extra day. We play Carolina. Who's back from injury? Bjorkqvist. And Jones is almost healthy, but not entirely. So we won't put him in full time. Alright, here's the problem, though. How was Warren Foegele done as a Penguin? 3 points in 10 games, -3. McGregor, 4 points in 26 games. Cassian, no points in 10 games. Legare has 13 points. And Bjorkqvist has 7 in 29. Which, for Bjorkqvist, comes out to about a 19-point pace, which honestly isn't good enough. How was Matt Duchene, Ben? 7 points in 10 games, not bad. Alright, honestly, again, we're desperate to make the playoffs. So we are going to do what we have to do here. Legare has to stay, or we commit to not using. Honestly, we commit to not using him for the rest of the year. That's fine. He can get fucked. Defensively, Johansson has 4 points in 10 games, 3 goals. We'll definitely leave him. Berglund hasn't been so great on that right-hand side. We might as well leave Berglund in because the only other option's Ben Roger. That's all we got is Ben Roger if it's not him. But for the forwards, if I can, I don't know if it'll allow me to the cap. Can I send down Cassian and Foegele? I can. Cool. So I'm going to be done with Cassian and Foegele for the year. I'm honestly not overly impressed. Well, I mean, Foegele, I guess, hasn't been that bad. It's just defensively, though. I mean, if you look at that, he's on a 24-point pace. That's okay, I guess. Maybe I won't be so harsh, but I want people who can actually fucking contribute above that. Cassian's definitely out. Foegele can stay, but Cassian, we're gonna scratch for the rest of the year. Louis obviously will stay on the roster. That's fine. Bjorkqvist we're done with. If we lose him on waivers, so be it. And Legare I'm done with as well. If we lose Legare on waivers, I'm gonna hold on to Legare. I don't want to lose him on waivers. But Cassian and Bjorkqvist can't get any better. If we lose those two, then so be it. So and McGregor as well. Again, we just gave him a shot, but he hasn't been good enough. You look at his point pace between the bottom 6. He's on a 12-point pace. That's not good enough. So we need a center, a left wing, and a right wing from the AHL. And for centers, it's not going to be Svechkov, but we are going to give Matty Phillips another chance. And on the wing, we're going to go with Harvey Pinard and Johnny Gruden. As we lose Zach Cassian on waivers to the Ottawa Senators, which is perfectly fine by me. Perfectly fine. I'm shocked McGregor cleared as an 80 overall, but that's where we're at. So if we look then, left-hand side, let's get Johnny Gruden in there. Right-hand side will be Harvey Pinard. And then center will be Matty Phillips. And it's going to have to be Fogle, Phillips, Lagare, Gruden, Stevenson, Harvey Pinard. And we'll see what they can do. Again, there is no point to keep people in that aren't going to be able to do well. It's fucking sink or swim, get the job done or get off the team. Like, we don't have time to be like, well, maybe he'll turn it around. Like, we don't have time for that shit. So left-hand side, I got to be... Well, Bjorkqvist, actually, I don't have to be done with for the rest of the year. He's not playing below his role. But I am going to put Jan Drozgin there. And then at center, McGregor was a depth forward, so he can still play. And then right-hand side, let's go for Johansson, who still has some potential. And apparently all the fucking lines are screwed up. You got to be kidding me.
But what? Here comes the pizza. See it?
Put Ben Roger in. Here comes the pizza.
Oh, jeez.
Look at it.
Necessary.
That with the Patriots jacket, and of course he's been asked to leave the ball game for ruining a good piece of pizza.
Thank you very much to Alpha 33. Beautiful months. Alpha, I'm glad you're alive. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Let's see if the Penguins can make the goddamn playoffs. Matt Duchene's going to go to the top line for Sam Poulin. Here we go. We play Carolina, and we lose. We play Toronto. So this will have 10 games left. Zach Jones is healthy, and we lose to the Leafs as well. We are in the second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. It is going to be a down-to-the-wire situation as to whether or not we make the playoffs here. It's a back-to-back, New Jersey and Washington next. And as it stands, we're out of the playoffs. 35, 29, and 8. We are behind Columbus on tiebreaker. It might be 2 years in a row of not making the playoffs. Goals 4 per game. We are not in the top 10. Power play. We are not in the top 10. Penalty kill. We are no longer in the top 10. We're just out. We're going to fail all 3 of our goals. Again. We play New Jersey. We win 4-2. At the very least, if we're going to fail all 3 of our goals again, we have to make the playoffs. We have to. Ilya Konovalov will get the opportunity here against Washington. And he loses. Indeed, AJ, indeed. Missing the playoffs isn't the worst thing. Yeah, but also, I'd rather make the playoffs than just miss. Because what are the odds we win the lottery, you know? Now whoever just misses will win the lottery. Montreal in the final game of March, we win 2-1. So, what is that, 75 games down? Because Crosby hasn't missed a game this year. We are currently in the playoffs. Very, very close with Carolina, Columbus, New Jersey, even Philadelphia. No one in this division is out of the playoffs right now. In the Atlantic, though, it's Toronto that's actually behind. So we are likely... I mean, yeah, we're competing with everybody. I mean, this is as down to the wire as it gets. Crosby just showed up as an 89, by the way. That's a disaster. Zach Bogosian is on waivers. I might as well claim him. Why not? So we play the Chicago Blackhawks. We need to win. And we do. 5-4 in a shootout. Not bad. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. So Beliveau, Willsby, they can both be sent down. I'm not really worried if we lose either of them. And we didn't. And then again, Zach Bogosian is now down in the AHL. Let's get Caden Primo back in there. So we'll take out McCleary. We'll put Bogo in there. And then Ansons needs to come out for Willsby. And it won't be the best defense in the world, but that's okay. That way McIsaac gets to play with Bogosian. Maybe do a little bit better. Philadelphia's next, and then we have a home-and-home against Detroit. And Jarek McIsaac gets hurt, so never mind. He doesn't get to play with anybody. Fuck. We'll get Isaac Beliveau in there. And we'll go with that, just so that there are no minuses. Gotta love the whole extra attacker thing. Being as annoying as it is. We lost 4-0 to Philly in that game. And they jump us in terms of the wild card. We played Detroit. We win 5-2, thank God. Man. Konovalov, we signed you midway through the season. This is a gigantic game for you. We have 4 games left. We are currently in the 5th wild card spot. We take on Detroit. We need a win here, please. Please. First period, 1-0 Red Wings, Jakub Vrana. Second period, still 1-0. Jason Zucker scores on the power play. Thank God. Power play for the Penguins. Larkin scores shorthanded. Raymond scores. Are we going to just miss out on the play? Yeah, okay. 4-2 the final. Joseph and Zucker bookend 3 goals from the Red Wings. I didn't think this is how I'd be feeling after how well we did in Season 1, but this just... It's almost how much longer can we keep up the charade of Crosby and Malkin being here. But they're staying until they retire. But my God. Gruden, 2 points in 9 games, a -4. 1 point in 9 game for Harvey Pinard. Jesus. Phillips has 2 points in 9 games. Fogle has 7 points now in 19 games. It's a 30-point pace. Gruden, Phillips, Harvey Pinard, they're immediately going down. If we lose them on waivers, so be it. They couldn't cut it. They couldn't cut it. If we lose them, so be it. We can get other people. Let's go for Hirvonen, Fortier, and Pajuniemi. And we didn't lose anybody on waivers. That shows how the teams around the league view them. We'll try something different. Let's get Fortier in there. Louis here as a cap whale. Louis Fortier, Pajuniemi, and Ronnie Hirvonen. We'll get Fogle up onto a higher line. That'll be the bottom 6 now as we run through. We are still just desperately looking for anybody that can stop the bleeding. And to be honest, I want to see how Bogosian fits in next to Johansson, and maybe Zach Bogosian gets an opportunity in the bottom 6. We're just going to go best lines. If someone's playing there who got sent down earlier at this point, fuck it, except for the goaltenders, because that's easy to fix. We'll get Primo out of there. We'll get Goodrow in there. Can Bogosian play well with Johansson? Yes, he can. Bogo, let's give you the chance here. I still just cannot believe how bad John Marino's been this season. We take on New Jersey as Ryan McGregor gets hurt, and we lose 4-1. Final 2 games of the season, we're fucked. We're going to miss out. Because we get a great team. Again, last year, it's like we get Giroux, and we get Pavelski, and they don't do anything. And then this year, we have Russ, we have Keller, we have Kapanen, and they don't do anything. It's just... I don't know what the answer is at this point for this team. But yeah, we're 3 points back of the Flyers. The Flyers are done. We can finish on a maximum of 90 points, which means our playoff hopes are on life support at this point. It depends on what happens with the likes of Columbus. We have to win both games, though, to have any chance of sneaking into the playoffs. They're both against Columbus. Sid, we're likely to fail all 3 goals again. 0 for 9 is what we're looking at. First period, goal apiece. Kevin Stenlund and Sidney Crosby on the power play. Second period, goalless. We need to win. We need to win. Pity points not even enough. Diego Chinnikov scores. Power play again for Columbus. Spoon Jenner scores. We're done. We are done. This team is cooked. This team is cooked. 4-1 your final. And after so much success in Season 1, we're going to miss the playoffs in both Season 2 and Season 3. Absolutely brutal. That is the only way to describe what the past 2 seasons have been for us. 40, 34, and 8. Washington. Both New York teams in the Metro make the playoffs. Columbus and New Jersey makes it. We missed out on the playoffs by 2 points. We should have been able to make it. We should have been able to make it. The Atlantic, Montreal, Tampa, and Florida. Boston missed out by a point. Toronto also missed out on the wild card spots, as did the Red Wings. In the Central, it's Colorado, Winnipeg, Nashville. Nobody else was close. St. Louis absolutely sucked. And in the Pacific, it is Edmonton, Vegas, Vancouver, Anaheim, Calgary, the fucking group of death. Poor Seattle, LA, and San Jose getting beat up all year long. So Edmonton wins the President's Trophy. St. Louis, the worst team in the league. In terms of goals for, we needed a top 10 offense in terms of goals for per game. That is the top 8, 9, and 10. We missed. We needed a 2-8-8, and we finished with a 2-6-1. 214 goals. We needed 236. Power play percentage. We missed that goal as well. 20.9% is what we needed. We were at 19.6. Was our penalty kill at least top 10? No, it wasn't. It was at 81. We needed 83. Our only hope is if somehow, some way, Nate Schmidt finished top 10 in blocks, and it wasn't looking like he was going to be able to do it. To recap our team, though, Crosby led the way. 2 down years in a row for Sid. From 105 points in year 1 to 78 and 80. Gensel did hit 30 goals again, because of course he did. But his point total has dropped over the past 2 years. Sam Poulin hit 45 points. Not bad for his rookie campaign. We'll be expecting more from him next year, for sure. Evgeny Malkin. I don't know what to make of Gino at this point. I'm kind of hoping he retires. Stevenson was an okay third liner. His deal is up. I don't know if he's coming back. It depends on how much he wants. Jason Zucker was an okay third liner, the middle 6 option, but his point total has dropped year after year. He has 2 years left at 3.25. I don't know what we're doing with him. Matt Duchene. 17 points in 22 games. He was pretty good for us once we acquired him. He is currently a cap whale for 2 more years, basically, though. Warren Fogle had 8 points in 22 games, full season. That'd be about 29 points, which isn't that bad for a bottom 6 option like Fogle. I don't know if he'll come back, though. Nathan Legare, it's just not quite there. I might give him one more chance, but I'm disappointed. And then the rest of the guys who moved into the bottom 6 roles just didn't work. Defensively, again, I never thought we'd have to move on from Brian Dumoulin and Chris Letang, but we did. And ultimately, it was just a brutal season. Joseph had a great 53 points. Nate Schmidt with 21. Zach Jones only 17, which was a bit disappointing. And then John Marino was tragic this year. He's still on one of the best contracts in the league. But John Marino was awful. Just awful this season. And if it happens again next year, he's gone. I don't think we'll get rid of him in the offseason unless there's a chance of acquiring like a top 5 pick or close to it. but damn. It's just brutal. And then goaltending-wise, Blomqvist and Konovalov were our best two options because, again, we tried to sign Alex Nedeljkovic in free agency, but he went back to Detroit. The problem was, obviously, we had like Lindbergh up there, and Dan Vladar, neither could get it done for the majority of the season. AHL-wise, John Gruden had 68 points in 73 games. Not bad. So we're just not where we want to be. Around the league, Connor McDavid led the NHL in points. And what would have happened had we signed Nathan MacKinnon? He elected to go back to Colorado. We were this damn close to signing Nathan MacKinnon. And how different would this season have been? Pettersson's up there. Panarin, Draisaitl, Ovechkin, Stone, DeBrincat, Eichel. Ovi, now up to 895 career goals. He's had at least 50 goals in all three of our sim seasons. 67 goals for Podkolzin. Jesus Christ, computer-generated players are still going to computer generate. But McDavid, McKinnon, Panarin, Ovechkin all hit 50. Tanner Jeannot was up there too. Assist leader was Pettersson. I mean, that's why Podkolzin had so many points, is he had Petey setting him up. Hawks, how are you, buddy? In terms of the defense, Cale Makar had 101 points. 101 points, and you are right that Ovi broke the record. I'm just so down on the state of the Penguins right now. I can't even be like, fuck yeah, Ovi did it. Of course he did, but Jesus. And Cale Makar hit 101 points. I mean, he had 3 defensemen hit at least 94, for God's sakes, and 6 were over a point per game. Good Lord. Goalie king, Dougie Hamilton had 29 flipping goals. Goaltender-wise, Vasi, Allen, Demko, and Shesterkin. Remember when I said I didn't want someone like Jake Allen? I mean, he only had a 909, but he was on a team that was good enough to carry him. 7 shutouts for Demko, Price, Blackwood, and Grubauer, and the Vezina is likely going to Carter Hart. Vasi's in the mix. Even Thomas Greiss had a fucking 928. No goalie goals. And the rookie race. Connor Bedard outduels Pettersson, Sam Poulin, Peyton Krebs, Shane Wright and company. F.A. Michkov as well. Connor Bedard likely to win the Calder.
Here comes a pizza, see it?
Hawks with the gift sub.
Oh, jeez.
Highly unnecessary.
And I do thank you for it.
The Patriots jacket, and of course he's been asked to leave the ball game for ruining a good piece of pizza.
Imagine ruining a good piece of pizza. Moment of truth here. Our last goal for the season. Did we fail it as well? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And again, we fail all 3 goals. 129 blocks was what he needed. Fucking Friedman had more. Oh my God, how far down? He had 122. Oh my God, he was only 7. He was 7 off. It seems like a fucking ocean of distance, but he was only 7 away. We again fail all 3 of our goals.